Good incentives. An insensitive look at the incentives that motivate. I am Morton Gink Jr. Your city wants a brand new multi-billion-dollar stadium, and they're telling you it's going to be an economic miracle. It'll create jobs, boost local businesses, and put your city on the map. But what if I told you that for the last 30 years, nearly every independent economist who has studied this has come to the same conclusion? It's a myth. The promised boom almost never happens. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on one of the biggest shells in the civic game. We'll look at who really benefits when the public foots the bill for a shiny new sports palace. So, here's the surface story. A sports team, backed by developers, promises a massive economic windfall. They show up with a glossy report full of huge numbers, talking about jobs and growth. The media repeats these numbers. Politicians get excited about a big, visible project, and suddenly, it feels like anyone who questions the deal is against progress or doesn't love their city. The problem is, that glossy report they're waving around, it's often just paid for marketing dressed up to look like serious research. It's what I call a vibe document wearing a lab coat. So why doesn't the math add up? The key is a concept economists call reapplication. That money you spend on a ticket, a hot dog, and a jersey inside the new stadium. You didn't just print that money. You probably would have spent it somewhere else in the city, maybe at a local restaurant, a movie theater, or a concert. The stadium doesn't create new wealth. It just moves existing spending from one part of the local economy to another. It's like moving water from one side of a bucket to the other and claiming you have more water. The booster-funded studies almost always ignore this. They count every dollar spent at the stadium as new money, which is fundamentally dishonest. Then there's the opportunity cost. That $500 million in public money for the stadium. What else could it have been used for? It could have funded schools, repaired roads, improved public transit, or lowered taxes. But we never get to see that comparison. We're presented with a choice between a shiny stadium and nothing. It's a false choice, designed to make the subsidy seem like the only path to a vibrant city. And here's the real kicker. Even when a stadium is built, its useful life keeps getting shorter. Back in the day, a stadium might last 50 or 60 years. Now, owners start demanding a new one after about 30 years. Why? The novelty effect. A new building causes a temporary spike in attendance and revenue, but it fades. Once that novelty wears off, the pressure campaign for the next taxpayer-funded replacement begins all over again. It's a cycle of public subsidy for private profit. The costs are spread quietly across millions of taxpayers over decades, but the benefits are concentrated loudly for a very small group of owners and developers. So, what's the one question you should always ask when you hear these pitches? It's one more thing. Could you show me the audited net fiscal impact? Not the rosy predictions, but the real, after-the-fact numbers. Show me the impact after you account for spending that was just moved around, after you factor in the costs of debt, new roads, and extra policing. And show me how it compares to what would have happened if that money had been invested in boring, but essential, public infrastructure. When you ask that, you'll probably hear a lot of hand-waving about civic pride or being a big-league city. Good. And look, those things might have value. But we should be honest about what we're buying. We're not buying an economic engine. We're buying a luxury good, a form of public entertainment. And if we, as a community, decide that's worth the price, that's a valid choice, but we should make that choice with our eyes open. Based on real math, not a fairy tale about economic growth that almost never comes true. Thanks so much for watching. If this gave you a new way to think about these huge public projects, hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the systems that shape our world. See you next time.